Okay, so everybody write down the listing presentation. The listing presentation. So what I'm going to go over with you guys is I'm going to go over 16 key things you need to know about taking more listings. So 16 key skills or key points about increasing the number of listings, sellable listings that you're taking in a year. Okay, do every one of you want to take more listings next year than you took this year? Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay, good. So, I've got 16 points that I want to go over with you real quick, and then we're going to work on actually doing the listing presentation. Okay, is everybody excited about that?
Sounds good.
How many of you have ever, let me ask this, how many of you have actually done a scripted listing presentation that you actually did on an actual listing presentation? Okay.
Well, maybe my first one was.
You actually what, Janet?
Maybe my first one was scripted from
Maybe.
443.
Okay.
Camp 443.
And then how did it go?
Yeah, I got those.
And you got the listing? Perfect. It works. Okay. So, Jesse, did you raise your hand?
I didn't.
I did.
So, Cara, you raised your hand.
I used one for years.
So you've used a script for years, and actually, do you still use the same one, or have you changed it?
I've gotten out of practice.
Okay. You've gotten out of practice, which happens. Yeah. And Julie, I know you use a scripted listing presentation. So, so what I'm gonna teach you today is the basics of some of the key principles of learning how to take more listings, and then we're gonna actually work on how to do a powerful listing presentation. I'm actually going to introduce you guys to the listing presentation that I've used for years, which is the Mike Ferry listing presentation, which I think is, I've looked at listing presentation scripts, I've looked at dozens of them, and I've never seen one that I think has the dynamics of as powerful a presentation as it does, which I'll explain to you why as we go through that. So, whatever script you use, I'm fine with, as long as it works. And as long as it helps you represent the customers, the client's best interest. Because that's what our business is about, right?
Yes.
Okay, good. So the key points on taking more sellable listings. I want everybody to write down number one, and I want you to write down 3 words. Okay, just write number one, and then I'm going to give you 3 words. Attitude. So everybody write attitude, comma. Approach, comma, expectation. Now those are the 3 key words in being a powerful real estate professional. Your attitude, your approach, and your expectation. And everything I'm going to teach you today revolves around those, and these are things that Mike Ferry has taught for years, is that if you have the right attitude, the right approach, and the right expectation, your ability to sell at a high level is infinitely greater. So, point number 2. Strong skills, comma, enthusiasm, comma, and confidence are the greatest assets you bring to the listing presentation. So there are 3 things, and all these reflect attitude, approach, and expectation. Number 1 is having strong skills. Number 2 is having enthusiasm. Number 3 is having confidence. So strong skills, enthusiasm, and confidence are the greatest assets that you bring to the listing presentation. Okay? Now, can you make a house sell for more than any other agent can make the house sell for? Yes or no? No. Who determines that? The market determines that. So when you come to a listing presentation, you can't make a house sell more for more than somebody else can. Okay? Now, when you get right down to it, if you take a listing, a home that's in good shape, in other words, with no adverse indicators or anything like that, and you price it right, will it sell in any market, yes or no?
Yes.
Absolutely. If you spend $10,000 in marketing, will that help you sell it for more or faster or better than if you don't, as long as it's priced right?
No.
No. Marketing is not what sells a home. Okay? Marketing is what weak agents do to appease strong sellers. Okay, so that's a little exaggerated maybe, but that's the reality, is because every agent knows I'm not doing the marketing because it'll help the house sell. I'm doing it to appease the seller or meet the seller's expectations. Okay? Does that make you more money? Yes or no? No, it doesn't make you more money. It costs you money. Okay? So, strong skills makes a difference. Okay? Strong skills, enthusiasm. Does enthusiasm make a difference?
Yes.
Absolutely. Because see, if they hire you to sell their house and they're going to pay you $30,000, do you think they want to know that you like what you do?
Yes.
That you're committed to what you do?
Yes.
That you're passionate about what you do?
Yeah.
Absolutely. So strong skills, enthusiasm, and confidence are the greatest assets that you bring to the table. A fancy marketing plan does not help you over skills and confidence. Okay? For example, my marketing budget for over 10 years of selling real estate full-time, my marketing budget, the highest it ever was less than $4,000 a year.
Oh.
Okay, a year.
Wow.
And that was doing over 100 transactions. Okay? Why? Because marketing didn't get me listings, and marketing didn't sell my listings. But strong skills, enthusiasm, and confidence works all the time. So here's what I wrote down. They always give the listing to the person who earns it, not to the person who needs it the most. Okay, I need this listing. You don't understand. If I don't get this listing and I don't get to sell, I'm going to lose my house. Okay, they don't give the listing to the person who wants it the most or needs it the most. They give it to the one who earns it. And the way you earn it is strong skills. Point number 3. To increase your skills, practice your presentation every day. To increase your skills, practice your presentation every day. Now watch this. If you are doing something that requires skill, let's just say, for example, playing a musical instrument or playing a sport, something that's very performance-based, that is a skill activity. What is the best way to get better? Practice. Okay? No matter how much you read about it, no matter how much you study it, do you think you could ever become a master pianist, a concert pianist, without practicing daily?
No.
No way. If you loved figure skating, and you read everything about ice skating, and you read all the books, and you went to all the performances, and you watched videos of it on TV, but you never put on skates and never got on the ice, and you went out on the ice, how good could you be? Okay, not very good. You would injure yourself if you tried to do the stuff that you actually saw. How do you get good? How do you get better at anything that requires high level of skill? Practice. So does everybody agree that if you practiced more, you would get better?
Yes.
Now, why would somebody like Kobe Bryant, who's been playing basketball for years and years and years, and is arguably one of the best in the NBA of all times, okay, how many hours a week do you think he practices?
A week?
A week.
A lot.
Maybe.
All the time, right? Does he actually perform more or practice more?
Practice more.
He spends more time practicing than he does performing. And how much does he make?
Millions.
Millions. Okay? Have you ever seen a real estate agent that can make over $1 million in a year? Okay? Absolutely. What happens? The more you practice, the better your skills are. If you could make $1 million a year selling real estate, would it make sense that you should have to practice the skills of performing your profession? Okay? And yet I have agents that the reason they didn't come to this class today is, guess why? They already know how to do a listing presentation.
Yeah.
Okay? And the reason they don't practice the skills of doing a listing presentation,
They already know.
they already know how to do it. Okay, now watch this. Every time you go on a listing presentation, how much are you potentially going to get paid for that listing presentation? Typically. 15, 20, $30,000, right? So you're going to go do a presentation that's worth $20,000 or $30,000. You realize that's what some people make in a year, and you can go do one 30-minute presentation for $15,000 to $30,000. Because if you take a sellable listing and you price it right, it'll sell, right?
Yes.
Okay? So if your skills are strong enough, you realize in 30 minutes, in a 30-minute presentation, you can literally earn $15,000 or $20,000 or $30,000. It makes sense to me that I should practice so that when I go on the listing presentation, I know exactly what to say. Now watch this. You take a movie star, okay? and they perform a movie. They are in a movie. Do they practice?
Oh, yes.
Okay. Now the script, do they follow a script, yes or no?
Yes.
Absolutely. How do they follow it?
Verbatim.
They follow it verbatim. Okay. It's not ad lib. It's not. They follow it verbatim. Now, is the script them? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Internalize it.
No.
It's an interesting question, isn't it? When you when the director hands them the script the first time and they read it, okay? You know, I think, for example, Brad Pitt in Troy, the movie Troy, because I thought I loved that movie. Watch this. When they handed him the script, was he Hercules?
No.
No, but he became Hercules. Now you look at some of the greatest actors. Who's the guy that played Castaway? Cage.
Okay.
Thanks.
Tom Hanks. Tom Hanks. He can go from playing Castaway, where how much script was there in that? Very, very few words, and yet the presentation of every word had to be absolutely perfect, right? And watch this. So he did that, and then he could go and play what's some of his other movies that are totally different.
Forrest Gump.
Yeah.
Forrest Gump. So here, which one was him? Neither one. But he internalized the script and he became that. So when you look at a script and say, well, that's not me. Well, I understand that's not you. Okay? Just like when you take a kid and try to teach them how to swing a baseball bat, and you try to correct their swing, they go like, that doesn't feel natural. Oh, of course it doesn't feel natural. That's why you're striking out. So we're going to teach you how to do it right so you can actually be better. Okay? So if you want to get better and make more money as a listing agent, to increase your skills, practice your presentation every day. And there are two parts that we're going to talk that you really have to practice that are associated with the listing presentation. Number one is your pre-qualifying script, which is your seller information sheet, and two is then the actual presentation. Okay? Point number 4. Always follow a 5-step listing process. Always follow a 5-step listing process. Number 1, pre-qualify every seller before every listing presentation. Pre-qualify every seller before every listing presentation. Okay, I may not talk more about that today, but that's something that's really, really critical is that why would you go on a listing presentation with somebody who cannot get the price they want in this market and they don't have to sell?
To practice.
Okay, why would you go? Practice. Now watch. Okay, have you ever been taught that? How many of you have ever been taught that when you're learning how to do a listing presentation, you need to get better, go on a listing presentation just for the practice? Okay, so I want you to write this down. Never go on a listing presentation for the practice. Ever.
Is that one of the 5 steps?
No, but I'm just making a point.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Okay, watch this. Why would I go on a listing presentation and practice
'Cause you're
Not
practicing-
getting the listing.
practicing
not getting the
failure.
listing? How often do you want to go on a listing presentation and not get the listing? How often do you want to do that?
Never.
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 So why would I go practice it? Why would I go practice not getting a listing?
But you don't have to take every listing.
Of course you don't have to take that every
You
listing.
want to take every
But
sale.
how much do I get paid for going and talking to somebody who cannot and is not going to sell their
Zero.
house? You get paid 0, right?
You don't get paid
It
for
costs you
practicing.
actually.
You probably
No, you
put
don't.
money in,
But
yeah.
watch this. If I'm
It's
playing
disgusting.
if I'm playing a sport like basketball, how much time should I spend practicing missing the basket?
Never.
Never.
Never. Why?
Because you don't want to ingrain failure.
Okay. Everything that you do as a behavior, your subconscious records it. And your subconscious does not record whether it's a right behavior or wrong behavior.
It just
Okay.
records.
It records the behavior. And so the fact that you do it, your subconscious records that process. So I practice going on listing presentations and not getting them. Guess what? I'm practicing failure. What am I practicing? What I don't want. And what happens? It tends to
Continues.
reproduce itself. Okay? So it's an interesting dynamic. So one, pre-qualify 100% of your listing presentations before you go, so you know when you go out there, they know why you're coming, you know why you're coming, and you can actually get that listing. Okay, number 2, so number 1 of the 5-step listing process. Number 1, pre-qualify every seller before every listing presentation. Number 2, deliver a pre-listing package. Mail or deliver a pre-listing package. Okay, what goes in a pre-listing package?
Information about
Okay.
you, and maybe information about the market, maybe information about,
Getting your house ready to sell.
yeah.
Okay, so real simple, here's what goes in a pre-listing package. Number 1, your action plan. Which, what are you going to do to sell your home? Number 2, any personal information about you and or your company. References, information about your company, whatever. Number 3, market analysis, CMA. Number 4, a net sheet. Do sellers care how much money they're going to actually net
Yes.
at closing?
Oh, yes.
Do they want to know about the closing costs?
Okay, so the
Yes.
net sheet is using your suggested list price?
A net sheet is using the price it's going to sell for.
Right.
Yep. Okay? Then, so you do a completed net sheet. And then number 5 is all the listing paperwork pre-filled out.
In the pre-listing package that you drop off?
In the pre-listing packet, have the listing agreement, all the disclosures, everything they're going to need to sign and fill out. Send it. Now with zip forms, you can pre-filling it out pre-filling it is easy, right?
Do you know, that Leo Nardine used to do that and people would send it back to him signed.
Exactly. You literally, I mean, I have literally walked up to listing presentations to doors and knocked on the door and come in. They said, we went ahead and signed everything because everything looked good. Now, if they don't like the price, are they going to sign it before you get there? No, they're not going to sign it. So now I have to do a presentation. But if they know who you are and they trust you and they believe you and everything makes sense and the price that you recommend makes sense to them and all this stuff, I mean, what if it only happens 1 out of every 50?
That's good.
Hey, just save me time. I got to go home earlier. Okay? So why not set yourself up? They know why you're coming. But also, if they're an analytical, do they like to read over all the paperwork before they sign anything? So I'll go ahead and send it to them in the pre-qualifying presentation. In the pre-qualifying, I just ask them. In number 16, I'm going to be sending over a package of information. Will you take a few moments and review it before we meet? Okay? So when they ask, well, what are you going to do to market my home? It's a great question. I actually included it in the material I sent. Did you guys have an opportunity to look at it? So I treat it as if they should have already looked at it. If they didn't, that's their fault, not mine. But it keeps me from having to spend 30 minutes going through in detail what they should have already looked at,
There's no number 16.
which is real simple. Number 16, on the pre-qualifying, the seller information sheet right there. Okay? Number...
I have a question. How
Yes.
soon, how much time should you have between the presentation and the time that you send it?
Great question. It depends on when you get the appointment. But like if I called an expired this morning and they're ready to put their house back on the market and I can set an appointment for 6 o'clock that day, I'm going to set it. So what am I going to do? I'm going to have to spend some time that afternoon doing the CMA, doing all the stuff, and then I'm going to have to, in that case, probably email it to them. It's always better if it's physical because people will not look at emails as quickly as they will if you have a packet. And you can have a courier deliver it, which is better. You're like, well, it costs money. Well, of course it costs money. You're going on a $20,000 presentation. Wouldn't it make sense to spend $10 or $20 to have it couriered over or to have it sent over? Okay.
I've paid Eric $20 to do it.
Hey, it's perfect. I mean, that's literally, and what an inexpensive investment that is, because guess what? They happen whenever a courier delivers something. What do couriers deliver to your door? Important stuff that has value, and they see, well, this guy, he spent $20 just to deliver. It must be important. They're going to look at it. If you set an appointment, today's Thursday, and I set an appointment for Monday, then what I can do is I can call back and confirm tomorrow, pre-qualify it on Friday, and I can overnight it. What comes FedEx? Imported stuff. Okay. See, have you ever gotten something from delivered FedEx next day and not opened it?
No.
You always open it because it's important. Okay. So when you hand deliver it, you have it couried over, or you have it FedExed, it has value. Okay, and it makes them feel special. So, always, which is point number 2, mail or deliver your pre-listing pack. Number 3, call back to confirm. Call back to confirm. Always confirm the appointments. How many of you enjoy no-shows?
No.
Okay, so reduce those. How do you reduce them? Pre-qualify and confirm the appointment.
Is that number 3 then?
Number 3, yeah. Number 3 is
Pre-qualify.
call back to confirm. Number 1 is pre-qualify. Number 2 is deliver a pre-listing packet. And number 3 is call back to confirm. Number 4, show up mentally. Well, I put down physically, emotionally, and mentally. Show up physically, emotionally, and mentally. In other words, when you get there, I mean, how many times have you been going on an appointment and on the way over there you get a phone call that does not make your day? You know, your kids are upset, or your spouse is upset, or escrow is falling apart. Don't pull up and run out late saying, "Oh, I'm so sorry. It's been one of those days." Does that help the seller? Yes or no?
No.
No. Does that help your credibility? Yes or no? No. When you get there, they want you 100% there.
That's actually a habit.
It is a habit.
It's a
It's
habit.
an emotional habit of people. For some reason, some people think that if I come in looking frazzled and hurried and I'm a little bit late, that it makes it look like I'm important. Okay? No, it makes you look like it makes it look like you think they're not important. Is what it actually makes it look like.
Do you know
Right.
what being late is? It actually means that you don't think that you're important enough for people to miss.
Yeah. It basically says, I am more important than you. And that's why I talk about there's two time zones in the real estate industry. There's real time and
Realtor time.
realtor time. Okay? And realtor time disrespects everybody. It disrespects your clients, it disrespects other agents. Getting people to show up on time, which again I appreciate. Every one of you guys were here on time. So even you, Asanka, so congratulations on that. And see, that's a value that I hold very high because my first $1 million client,
$25.
my first $1 million client, it was on Bob Rate. That doesn't, if that's
That
the
doesn't
rule.
count.
Yeah. My first $1 million client, I sold his ranch, which was over $1 million, which is the first ranch I'd ever sold, the first $1 million. But he was a multi-millionaire, and he wanted to talk to me about some business, some real estate business, and so he invited me to lunch at the Colonial Country Club in Fort Worth. I got going late. I called him to let him know I'm running a little bit late. I was going to be at 10 or 15 minutes late, whatever, all the stuff, traffic was against me, the stars were misaligned. I mean, everything was, 50 minutes late. He said, I've got other plans. That just didn't give us enough time to handle this business, so we'll have to talk later. Ended the conversation. It probably took me, I don't know that I ever got past it, but I was able to get more business from him, but it took me forever to get back in front of him. Okay? And in the meantime, him and his brother had already done some real estate transactions, but it hurt me, and it taught me, but it probably made me a lot of money because it taught me that this was a business owner who got where he was for a reason, and I disrespected his time. Okay? So it was an expensive lesson, but it was a lesson well learned, so that's very important. So show up mentally, physically, and emotionally. Number 5, is follow your listing script verbatim. Follow your listing script verbatim. In other words, word for word, follow it. Should you carry a copy of your listing presentation with you when you go into the listing presentation?
Yes.
Absolutely. Okay?
3x5 cards.
Nobody cares.
Nobody cares.
Okay?
It's true.
I've seen, I forgot his name in San Francisco. Michael, you remember his last name? Michael Young. Michael Young is probably, 200 or 300 transactions a year. He just says, I've got my listing presentation here. Will you guys be comfortable if I read it?
No way.
Absolutely.
When he does a presentation?
I've seen him do it live.
Huh.
Wow.
Why? Because
That's
he's
that's
so
like- that's
professional. Now
different.
you watch doctors nowadays when they walk in and they talk to you, they will sit on their computer and they'll input the data as they talk to you.
Yes.
It's true.
Okay? They are following a script. All right? Every single time. Airline pilots, before they take off, do they follow a script?
Yes, they do.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Surgeons, do they follow a script?
It's important.
Verbatim?
Yes.
I hope so.
Yes.
They have a procedure, and it is set in stone. Now, when they cut you open, are they going to have to juke and jive and make
No.
adjustments based on what they find inside?
No.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But even as they make those adjustments, they are still on a very clear script of what they have to do every step of the way. Okay? And it would probably not be good if they ever forgot to cauterize as they cut this artery, if they forgot to clamp it, because they were so focused on what they saw here and expected.
Plus they've done it so many times. And
They've done it so many times, they practice it. They even call it having a practice. It's interesting. Okay? So follow your script, follow your plan verbatim. All right? And I just wrote down, always have a copy with you and read it if necessary. Okay? Now, here I just made a note. If you follow the pre-listing process, if you follow these 5 steps every single time, you will often get the listing in the first 5 minutes.
Wow.
Okay, I'll show you that in a minute. Point number 5. Okay, so now we're point number 5. It's showtime, baby. It's showtime, baby. So, Abby, you'll need a pen. Do you have something to write with? Write on. It's showtime, baby. ... Be early. Be prepared. This is all under number 5. Be intense. And be excited. Okay, so everybody repeat after me. It's showtime, baby.
It's
showtime, baby.
There you go. So be early, be prepared, be intense, and be excited. Has everybody got that? Be intense. Intense. Passionate. Focused. Okay, number 6. First impressions are critical. First impressions are critical. Look the professional. Okay? Business dress, every time, every day, period. Again, remember I mentioned attitude, approach, and expectation? Approach is, a lot of your approach is how you look. Okay? So I just made some notes, including the clothes you wear, how well you're groomed, if your guy's shoes shine, if you're a lady, makeup on, hair fixed. Okay? And watch this. Just as a matter of, this is what I always need to say. What am I selling?
yourself.
Okay?
Yeah.
I'm selling a professional image. So, rule of thumb for ladies. High neckline, low hemline. Okay? Not the other way around. Okay? Low neckline, high hemline, you're selling the wrong thing. Okay? I know we're on the beach. Doesn't matter. Okay? When you're going to the beach, you dress the way you want to go to the beach. You are a professional. They're about to pay you $30,000. They are not paying you to look hot. Okay? I have a different script for guys. Okay?
I have a
Yes,
question about that.
Okay?
We're all women.
And the reason, I noticed that in the beach community, realtors wear beachy clothes.
Mhm.
The guys wear, the
Right.
Tommy Bahama shirt
Tommy Bahama shirts.
and jeans.
Yep.
And a
flip-flops.
gal is hardly ever a suit,
Right.
okay?
Right.
Inland, the agents wear suits.
Absolutely.
Beach environment, it's the opposite.
Exactly.
All right, so now, what's your opinion about the listing presentation?
Great question. Look to professional. Now watch this. Here, the professional dress is different than it is even where I was before, 30 minutes east of LA, or
That's
even
right,
in LA.
inland.
I wore a suit to work every single day. Here, I've worn a tie one day in my entire time here.
Right.
Okay, which was my first team meeting. All right? That was just a decision I made. But here, I don't need to wear a suit and tie as a professional. But I always wear slacks. I always wear a nice shirt. I don't ever wear a t-shirt because this is business. So here, the beach dress, the beach professional look is more business casual as opposed to business formal. Okay, so a business suit, but watch this. Who is my client? It's always better to overdress than to underdress. Always. Okay? If I wear a tie and a jacket, I can always take it off. Okay, but if I wear shorts, even if they're, you know, nice Tommy Bahama shorts and a Tommy Bahama Hawaii shirt, and I walk in and it's an attorney that practices in downtown LA and he's wearing a suit, and I'm at his home at 7:30 at night and he's in a suit and I'm in shorts and flip-flops, I don't care that he lives on the Strand. I may hurt myself, and I would never hurt myself if I was in a suit. He said, you don't need to dress up for here, but I feel like you guys are important. And so they're not going to hold it against you. Kari?
What about, some people think that you have to drive a Mercedes, BMW.
I mean, I drove a luxury car maybe half the time I was in real estate. But the first, watch this, guys. The first 2 years I sold over 100 homes, I drove a Jeep Cherokee. That's the Jeep Liberty, pre-Jeep Liberty. Okay? And that was it. I mean, it was just, who cares? And I sold in the high end. I sold in South Lake Colleyville, which was, the average sales price there was over $500,000. It was over $400,000 in the 1990s. In our market area, when the average sales price was $120,000, that was the high end. I sold there. Nobody cared what I drove. Okay.
That's what I think.
I mean, that's the reality.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, having said that, I like nice cars.
Yeah.
Okay. So if you like a nice car, but earn it. I've seen too many agents in the last 3 years that have had their cars repoed because of status. Okay. And my opinion is, you look a whole lot better driving stress-free, driving a non-luxury car stress-free than driving a luxury car stressed out. Okay. There's nothing that is more professional in appearance than lack of stress. Just a thought. Joe, does that answer your question?
Yes, it does.
Okay.
Thank you.
So look the part. By the way, the strength of your handshake is part of that approach. Okay. So what kind of handshake should you have? Firm. Get in the saddle. A firm handshake. You don't want to be a dead fish, and you don't want to be a bone crusher. Okay. I know you have. I know.
Don't you have to look them in the eye too?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
You got to have confidence that your presence is. You look them in the eye. You shake their hands, and you want to get in the saddle good, which means you're there. Okay. Don't do this if you're a girl. And if you're a girl and a guy grabs you like that and he does this, say, "Let me get in the saddle good."
Oh, that's a good way to do it.
And grab
You
their
are a
forearm.
Texan.
There's not a bone crusher. Say, "Whoops, I think I missed. Let me get in the saddle good." And you look them in the eye and you connect with them.
That drives me nuts.
Just comfortable. Okay? Now watch this. There are cultures where a strong handshake is a threat.
Really?
Okay? So you have to pay attention. Isn't it Chinese? That all Asians, the Asian culture is, because handshake is not part of their culture.
They're more likely to,
They will bow. So it's appropriate to
follow
bow.
bow.
If you want a handshake, that's okay, but don't, if they give you that's normal. So don't crush them. Because to them, that's threatening. Okay? And because the market I was in before I came here was a high percentage of Asian. It was a very high Asian population. And I mean, I had a lot of Asian agents, and I'd shake their hand and I'm like, "What are you doing?" And so we taught them to give us a firm handshake when they're not in their culture, when they're speaking to somebody that's second generation Asian or that's white, whatever. So all of that is just a matter of understanding who you're working with and understanding the culture of the people, that there are cultural differences you have to be aware of. Make sense? So pay attention. Number 7. Number 7. During the presentation, number 7, listen to the seller with the intent of understanding what they are saying. Listen to the seller with the intent of understanding what they're saying, not just waiting your turn to talk. You know what I'm talking about? Okay, listen to the seller with the intent of understanding what they're saying, not just waiting your turn to talk. That's why you need to know, the better you know the listing presentation, the less time you have, the less emotional energy you have to spend thinking about what you're going to say next. Okay? Number 8. Number 7, listen to the seller with the intent of understanding what they're saying, not just waiting your turn to talk. Number 8, a great sales presentation is asking great questions. A great sales presentation is asking great questions. not telling them what you think. Okay, so watch this. Do they care about you, yes or no?
No.
Does the seller care about you, yes or no?
No.
No, they don't care about you. They don't care about your marketing plan. What do they care about?
Selling
They care about themselves. They care about their situation. They care about getting their home sold. They care about making this move. They care about getting out from under the financial stress they're under. They care about their deadline. Those are the things they care about. So how do you get them to trust you? Focus on what is important to them, and it's not you. Now, they don't know what else to ask or think, so they think it's the marketing, what you're going to do to sell my home. They think that's what it is, because that's what they've been conditioned. But they don't care what you're going to do to sell their home. I mean, if you go to a doctor, do you care what he's going to do to get you well, as long as you trust that he's going to do what's best for you?
All right.
Okay? See, you don't. If he says we're going to have to do surgery, you don't say, well, exactly what are you going to do? Now you may be curious and so forth, but you're not determining whether or not you're going to use him based on how detailed he gets into telling you about the surgery. Okay? If my car's not running right, I take it to the mechanic. I don't care. All I care about is when I get back, is it fixed? Okay? That's all I care about. So that's all. What they care about is their situation and just being confident that you're going to help them. Okay, so how do they know that you're that way? Because you ask questions and the conversation is based on helping them get what they want, not telling them about you. Everybody with me on that? Mm-hmm. All right. So number 9, knowledge equals confidence. Knowledge equals confidence. Ignorance equals fear. So what kind of agent do sellers want? Confident agent.
Fear equals what?
Ignorance equals fear. So I just wrote down number 9. Know, it's still under number 9. Know your presentation. If you're confident in your presentation, watch this. You take a first-year piano student, and they get up on stage to play their stuff. How do you feel if they stumble and they don't know what they're doing and they mess up and so forth? How do you feel? You feel uncomfortable, don't you?
Yeah.
You feel for them, okay? And so imagine how a seller feels when you're not confident and comfortable making your presentation. The problem is they feel sorry for you. And you're asking them to pay you $30,000. Okay? So your knowledge and your confidence is key, because remember I told you at the beginning that the 3 keys of selling a house are attitude, approach, and expectation. Your expectation has got to be, I'm the best agent for the job, I know what I'm doing, I just got to help you and see that. Okay? So I just mentioned number 2, skills. Strong skills, enthusiasm, and confidence are the greatest assets you bring to the table. It's not your marketing presentation, and it's not how many homes you sold this year or in your career. Those are not the strongest assets.
You said, I'm the best agent to sell your home. You just have to what?
I just have to help you see it. That's got to be your mindset. Okay? But the way I'm going to help you see it is by not talking about me. Okay? Because remember, who's it about? It's about them. It's not about me. So, know your presentation. And I just wrote, I have a note that I made. Sellers buy the authority of a polished, knowledgeable presentation. They buy it. Why? Because who's supposed to be the expert?
You.
You are. And see, they think a real estate professional is the expert until they talk to one. Okay? They think you know what you're doing until you show up. Until you start talking. So, if you have a polished, knowledgeable presentation, boom, they buy it. Now see, here is the traditional real estate belief, the agent belief. Well, but you know, what is your presentation? Well, I just get there and I kind of follow whatever the seller needs. I just try to answer all their questions. You see, the reason you're trying to answer the seller's questions and the reason they keep asking questions is you know what they're trying to figure out?
If you know what you're
What do
talking
you know
about.
what
Do you have a clue what you're talking about? And they're not convinced. Why? Because you get there and you have no clue. Okay? I mean, what if when they're getting ready to, flight attendants prepare for the cabin for departure, and the pilot comes on and says, guys, it's going to be delayed a few minutes. I'm still trying to figure out how to get the engine started. Does anybody know?
I want to get off.
Okay, so you've got to know that they know what they're doing to get on that plane. But you know they know what they're doing because they've been through, watch this, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of hours of practice before they ever got a paying customer on a plane. Okay, so that's what sellers are looking for in you. And if you're knowledgeable and your presentation is well scripted, well planned, well prepared, and you know your script backward and forward, they automatically believe you know what you're talking about. Even if they don't like it, they know you know what you're talking about. Everybody got that? Okay. So number 10, know the market stats. Know the market statistics. Know the inventory. What's the best way to know the inventory? Okay.
Look at it.
Okay. Preview property. Go to broker opens. Look at houses as they come on the market. Know what's out there. Okay. Market statistics. You have to pay attention to what's actually happening in the market. So I put know the market stats. Knowledge gives you power. What else does knowledge give you?
Confidence.
Confidence. Number 11, help the seller understand that they and you don't set the price. Help the seller understand that they and you don't set the price. What sets the price? The market sets the price. Okay? No problem, Julie. Don't worry about it.
feel all bad.
No, don't worry about it at all.
You have to share them.
She's heating something up in the microwave. Number 12. Asking planned questions allows you... Number 11. Help the seller understand that they and you don't set the price. The market determines the price. Number 12. Asking planned questions allows you to maintain control of the conversation. Asking planned questions allows you to maintain control of the conversation. So how long should a listing presentation be?
5 to 25.
Okay? What I teach, 5 to 25 minutes.
Planned questions what?
Asking planned questions allows you to maintain control of the conversation. Who's the expert?
Me.
You are. Okay? If you know what you're supposed to say next, okay, use maintain control. What does asking questions do?
Control.
Okay?
Focus.
Watch this. Well, several things, but what you're saying is correct. Who is in control of any conversation?
The one
Ask
that
the
asks
interviewers.
questions.
The one asking the questions. So if the seller is asking the questions, who's in control? The seller is in control. Okay? The listing presentation script that I have that I'm going to show you in a minute is a question-based presentation. Why? It talks about what's important to the seller and it engages them. So if they feel a sense of control because I'm allowing them to be very active in the listing presentation and they're getting to talk. Okay? In fact, a great listing presentation, you let them actually make the presentation, which I'll show you. Number 13, record your presentation. I know. How many of you have actually recorded yourself doing a listing presentation now? Okay, I'm going to show you a video in a minute of me doing a listing presentation. Okay, now it was the first time I had recorded myself doing a listing presentation in over 2 years. Okay, so when I watched it, I was shocked. So one of the things I'm going to ask you to do as you watch it is, what am I doing wrong? Now I don't want you sitting there trying to critique everything I'm saying because then you'll miss the point of the presentation. But I want you just to pay attention to some very basic things that I do incorrectly. And there's really 2 things that I do that you would never do in a listing presentation. And they're not like one moment I did something. It was something that was just present. Okay? And there are 2 things that came out. So I'm showing this to you guys. There's a reason I'm showing it to you, and I'll tell you in a minute. But if you want to get better, record your presentation as a way to improve your skills. Because if you watch yourself or listen to yourself doing something and record it and listen to it, do you hear your mistakes? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes.
Can you improve them if you hear them?
Yes.
Absolutely. I say
But don't you have to ask them first if it's okay with them to record the presentation or no?
sure.
Record a rehearsal, huh?
It's real easy. Here's how you record. Well, this is a role play that I record
Right.
here. But I used to record, and I always do it with audio. I never did video in a real presentation. just because we didn't have, that wasn't, I mean, look, a flip camera now
Right,
is
we can
easy.
do that.
But what I would do is, now watch this, you want a script? You want to double your chances of getting any listing presentation? Okay, it's real simple. Say, would it be okay with you guys if I just record this? I have my coach has asked me to record one of my listing presentations so he can listen to it and critique me and help me get better. Okay, so is it okay with you? I'm just going to record the presentation. Is that okay with you guys? Sure, great. And just make sure you answer all the questions right. So my coach doesn't get on me. So guess what is going to happen to your chances of getting the listing?
They're gonna say yes.
If they like you, they want you to do well. And then, you see what I'm saying? And I'm not kidding you. They will give you the listing just because they want you to succeed. It's the most crazy thing.
Okay, so let's repeat.
Okay.
Would it be okay to record this presentation?
Oh, if it's okay, I'm going to record the coaching. If it's okay, what I'm going to do is my coach is I actually have a coach that helps me get better as a real estate professional because I'm very committed to being the best at what I do. And so I have a coach that's asked me to record my presentation. So if it's okay with you guys, I'm just going to turn the recorder on and just record it. Okay, I'm not going to sell it or anything like that. If I do, I'll split the money with you. I mean, see, watch this, guys. Nobody cares. And if you're humorous with things, if you use humor, okay, it lightens everything up. And whenever you're doing a presentation, you gotta enjoy it. Okay? So, number 14, be enthusiastic and energetic. Be enthusiastic and energetic. I mean, when you get right down to it, guys, the one thing that any agent can do better than everybody else is have more energy. Okay? And I'm telling you guys, you can beat any agent out there. I don't care what company they're with. I don't care how many listings they've sold, how long they've been in the business. If you have energy and they don't, you'll win. Consistently, you will win. Okay? Because they want somebody who is excited about helping them get what they want.
So, number 14 is be enthusiastic and energetic.
Be enthusiastic and energetic. Number 15, expect them to make a decision and to get the listing before you leave the house. Expect them to make a decision and to get the listing before you leave the house. Okay, this is your expectation. Why are you there?
Get the list.
Sell the
Okay.
house.
You're there to help them get the home sold. Okay, should you be there if they don't need to get their home sold?
No.
No. So you're there because they need to sell their house. And who's the best agent to help them get the home sold? You are. Your attitude has got to be, I'm the best agent for the job. So what's your expectation?
Did you get the listing signed?
They're going to list with me. I mean, that's what I'm here for. So just assume that. Your belief has got to be, your expectation has got to be, I'm here to help you make a decision to act in your best interest. That's what good sales is all about. Helping people make good decisions. Okay? So expect them to make a decision and to get the listing before you leave the house, even if they have 3 other appointments set. People ask me, if they're interviewing 4 agents, when should you go? Which one of those appointments should you be?
For the last one.
Okay, the last one. Okay, here's my approach. What if they've already scheduled 2 more after you? Oh, that's okay. So I'm number 2. I'm the last interview.
Yeah.
That was my approach. You know, I don't care whether I'm first, second, third, or fourth. I'm going to be the last interview. Why? Because they're going to list with me. So how would I do it any way different? So your expectation has got to be, I'm the last interview. Expect to get the listing. Okay. Now, if you go, you make a skill presentation, and they don't give you the listing that night, what should you do? Schedule another appointment. That's another class. Number
Good, 16.
16. Number 16. Motivated sellers want an aggressive agent. Well, I just don't want to be pushy. I didn't want to make, pressure them. Why? Do they need to sell their house? Well, they don't need to. Well, why are you there?
Yeah.
Leave. Motivated sellers want an aggressive agent. ... Take charge. Take charge. Tell the truth. And ask for the decision. Take charge, tell the truth, and ask for the decision. How many of you have ever gone on a listing presentation, didn't get the listing, they didn't sign because you didn't want to pressure them, and found out later they listed with somebody else, right away, okay? One of the first issue I had to deal with in this office was an agent who went on a listing presentation, and they were going to list, but they weren't going to put it on the house for market a couple of weeks, and he did not ask for the signature, did not ask for the actual listing. And one of our other agents listed it the next week. Okay? Should have asked.
It's the signature that counts.
Always close, always ask for the listing, always ask for the decision. Okay, any questions on that? Okay, now what we're going to do next is we're going to actually, I want